Bond, Brotherhood Organization of a New Destiny. He spoke in May to a gathering of the John Birch Society in Dedham, Massachusetts, about the factors that play a role in shaping morality and values.
Thank you very much. I want to first say that I appreciate you coming out tonight. I don't take it for granted. I realize you could be out dancing tonight, so thank you for coming. I do appreciate it. My throat is a little dry. I've been doing a lot of talking lately, so if you hear some snorting and stuff, just forgive me for that. I'm going to talk about the attack on God, on the family, and on our country, biting you in. But first, I want to give you some history about myself, a little history about myself, and also I want to give you some examples of what happens to you when the government comes in and take over your life, by giving you an example of the American government and what has happened to the black family as a result of that. I realize most of you have never heard of Jesse Peterson before tonight, so I feel that I should tell you a little bit about myself. I grew up in Alabama, right outside of Montgomery, at a plantation there. My grandparents worked the plantation, my parents worked the plantation, and I did for a while. I was raised by my grandmother and somewhat by my mother, but mostly by my grandmother. My father wasn't around. I moved to Los Angeles around the age of 18. And at that time, I began to deal with the issues of life. You know, you're out on your own, and now it's time to deal with the real world. And I didn't know how to do it. I discovered that I really didn't know how to deal with the challenges that life brings on. And so I became very angry about it. You know, every situation I got into, it would overtake me. I just got angry because I discovered that I wasn't a man. You know, I just didn't know how to do it. I was very emotional, very insecure, had a lot of doubts, couldn't make decisions about life, and a young man kind of on my own. So I became very angry. And so I thought, you know, how do you overcome this? How do you become a man? Then I figured, well, I'll go to church. I figure if you can find the answer, you should be able to find it in the church. So I went to church. I went to different churches, and I would talk to the ministers about, you know, how do you become a man? How do you get over being so angry about things? And what they would tell me is that, read the Bible. But I read the Bible already. Well, read the Bible some more. So I did that. I listened to tapes. I did everything that they told me to do, but I got worse instead of getting better. If you could see my Bible right now, it is red, blue, yellow, and green, every color you can think of, all through the Bible, because I was trying to remember the scriptures in order to get better in life. But I got worse. And at this time, I'm 18, 19 years of age. And so what happened, I started to look around even more so for the answers. And at this time, I started to listen to people like Louis Farrakhan and Reverend Jesse Jackson and the NAACP and the Black Caucus and others. And they said that it wasn't me, but it was America trying to hold the black man down. And I'm like, well, cool, this is great. It's not me, it's the white man. And so I became even more angrier at the white man. I started to resent the white man because I couldn't understand why he was trying to hold me back, you know. I couldn't help the fact that I was black, and so I became very angry and resentful toward the white man. But what happened as a result of becoming angry, as we all know, when you judge, when you resent others, it comes back on you. You know, what you put out comes back at you. So I nearly destroyed myself. My self-esteem fell to an all-time low. I couldn't see clearly anything because that hatred was destroying me. And to make a long story short, I ended up on, you know, drugs and things like that because that void I had, that emptiness that came from resenting, that came from anger, it just destroyed me from within. You know, and I thought that if I could, you know, smoke some grass or do some drugs or have a lot of sex, that I could get rid of it. It didn't. I only got worse. Only got worse. And so I'm still looking for the answer. You know, why can't I be a man? Why can't I stand up? Why can't I deal with life in the proper way? Then one day I heard, well, America owe you something. You know, you've been enslaved. It is time for payback. So what you can do, you're a black man, what you can do is go down to the welfare office and let the county take care of you, you know, because you're black. They owe you something. So I went down to the welfare office, and at this time, if you were on drugs, it was considered a disability. And so I went down to the welfare office, and I said to them that, you know, I'm on drugs, and I can't work. And so they said, fine, that's good. So they sent me down the hall to a doctor that was right there in the building. He asked me a few questions. I told him, yeah, you know, I'm on drugs and I can't work. So he wrote up a little order for me. I took it back to my social worker. And she gave me $300 a month in cash, $100 in food stamps, medical coverage, you know, everything. All my needs was met. But what I noticed is that as the welfare was taking care of me, I got worse. I didn't get better, because if you notice that when someone take care of you, it seemed to take away your self-esteem. You become subject to the people that are taking care of you. If you doubt me, just think about your children. You know, if you spoil your child instead of teaching them to work and be responsible, when they become of age, when they're like 18, 19, they can't even leave home because they have not developed that character to go out on their own, and now they get angry at you when you try to put them out. Do you notice that? They don't want to leave because they don't know how to take care of themselves. But it happened to me that way. I just couldn't take care of myself. And so finally, to make a long story short, I'm not telling you about the drug thing because I'm proud of it. I am really embarrassed by it. You know, I think that it's awful that I had to go that way, but it happened that way. So finally one day, I'm sitting in my prayer closet. I had a tendency to pray to God a lot because I wanted him to help me. But prior to this particular day, whenever I prayed to God, I was always begging for a wife. Please, Lord, you know, give me a wife, give me money, bless my mama, bless my daddy, you know, always begging for something, vain prayer. But this time, I wanted to understand myself. You know, I wanted to know how to get over this, how to become a man, how to love what is right and live by that. And I just want to make a pinpoint right here. The most powerful thing that a person can do is to know yourself. Know thyself. When you know yourself, it changes everything. Most people don't know themselves. They don't know. If I ask 3 people in this room today, what type of person are you? 2 of them would say, you know, I don't really know. I've never really thought about that. I don't know who I am or what I am. And the 3rd person would say, oh, I'm a good person. Well, whenever a person say that I'm a good person, hold your wallet. You're going to be ripped off. Really. Run head for the hills. When you meet a man or a woman in a dating scene and they say, well, I'm a good person, do not marry that person. You're going to have hell for the rest of your life. Because no man is good. It's God that's in man that is good. You know, the man himself is wicked. That's why we must be born again. We're going to talk about that a little later. But I'm sitting in my prayer closet and I'm wondering, what is wrong with me? And at an instant, right away, I was able to see that I resented my parents. I was angry at them. I had judged them. I resented my father because my father wasn't around to guide me and show me the right way to go. He wasn't there to, you know, to teach me the issues of life. And inside of my body, I remember all of my life as a little kid growing up, I have always yearned for my father. That emptiness that I felt, I knew it was for my father. But he wasn't around, so I was angry about that. And then I was angry at my mother because she resented my father. You know, she didn't want to talk about him. She didn't want to mention him to me. And I was angry at her about that. And I'm sitting there wondering what is wrong with me. And I saw that that resentment for my parents had held me back in life. Because when you're angry, you can't see clearly. You know, a good example of that in a couple, you know, 2 people dating, or 2 people, you know, married. Let's say you're married to your wife, a husband married to his wife. He wake up one morning, and prior to this morning, this woman is the best woman in his life. You know, God gave me this woman, thank you, God, kind of a deal, right? So he wake up one morning, he says to his wife, oh, honey, get up and make some coffee for me. No, you make your own coffee. I'm not getting up and doing it this morning. I'm not going to make it. And right away, he get angry at her. And the moment he gets angry at that woman, she doesn't look the same to him anymore. Now he wonders, how in the world did I end up with this person? Because his anger causes him to see her in a different light. That's why it's so important not to judge. Be honest, speak up, but don't hate, because it blinds you from reality. And it happens all the time to people. So when I realized that I resented my parents, I had to go and apologize. And I did. And for the first time, my mother told me things about her life. And exactly what she did to me happened to her. I never knew that before that. This time I'm about 30 years of age, 30-something. And I never knew anything about her life. And I realized that this thing is being passed on generation after generation after generation. It is a spiritual warfare between good and evil. It is not black and white. We have been lied to when people tell us black people hate white people, and white people hate black people. It is a spiritual thing between good and evil. And evil is on the outside of us, inside of others. And when we hate people for what they are, it gets inside of us, and it changes who we are, and we become just like them. I hear a lot of guys telling me all the time, I married my mother. How did this happen? And I'm trying to get away from her, and every woman I get involved with is just like mama. How did that happen? And that is because he resented his mother, and that same spirit that is in her, that same identity that is in her is in every woman that he get involved with. He can't get away from it. That's why he must forgive first. So I wake up to this reality, and when I forgave my parents first, God forgave me, and I have not been the same since. Prior to this, I was insecure. I had doubt. I had fear. I had worry, insecure, everything you can think of. I couldn't make decisions on my own, a very weak person. But when I forgave them, God forgave me, I was able to see. Now, I don't feel like a macho man, but I don't have fear anymore, and I can see clearly. I can now see and I understand the warfare that is going on. But what really blew my mind is that in that moment, I realized that black people have been used, that they have been deliberately kept down by people that they trusted. People like the Reverend Jesse Jackson, the NAACP, the Black Caucus, the ACLU, Who Hate America, the National Organization of Women Who Hate Men, the Radical Homosexual Group, the Democratic Party. They keep blacks down in order to use them to destroy America, to gain power, to gain wealth. And I had not seen that before because I was so angry. And the way that they keep blacks down and have kept them down over the last 40 years is by keeping them angry. What they do is they tell them that America is against you because you're black. They want to put you back in slavery. And so blacks get angry about that, and once they get angry, they can't see the right way to go. They don't realize that they're being used. And I'm have to tell you, because of that, most blacks today, not all of course, but most blacks are immoral and un-American. And that's why they're suffering today. It is not because of racism, but it's because of the lack of character. And I'm going to give you a little bit more about that. So I thought, wow, this is great news. I'm going to go out and I'm going to tell black people that it's not the white man that is holding you back, but it's your own people. You've been lied to, you're being used. You need to put the fathers back in the home and take control of your own lives, get rid of the anger. So I started the organization Bond first. We went out, I met with a group of men, and we had a discussion like this, and they started to see the real deal. They began to understand that they had been used, they were intentionally kept down. So we started the organization with the purpose of rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. And the reason that we wanted to rebuild the man, if you notice, the attack is on the man. And the reason that the attack is on the man because of the spiritual order of life, whether we like it or not. And that order is God in Christ, Christ in man, and man over woman. That's the perfect order of life. It's not an ego trip. It doesn't mean one is better than the other, but it's the way that God has ordained it to be, whether we like it or not. And nothing else works but that. And I'll give you an example of that in a minute. So the attack is on demand. So I thought, wow, I'm going to tell black people, you got to get over your anger. I go and I start a radio program in Inglewood, California, which is right in the heart of the black community, right near Los Angeles, right together there. I open up the lines and I say, we're going to discuss these issues. You've been held down by your black ministers, by your black leaders, and the liberal elite whites. And I want you to wake up to that reality so you can take back your lives. And to my surprise, I was shocked. I was called nigger, Uncle Tom, a sellout. The white man is paying you to do this. You hate yourself. You hate your mother. You hate your father. You hate everything. I mean, I was attacked in ways that I never thought I would have to endure, because I thought that they would be happy to hear the truth. But I soon realized that they had been lied to for so long that for someone to come along and speak the truth is like death, because most people don't love the truth. People love to be lied to today. That's why Bill Clinton can control most people, because people love lies. So he get on TV and he tell them anything, just what they want to hear. They're like, right on. Vote for him, whatever he wants, because people love to be lied to. I was attacked, and finally they threatened the manager of that station, and I was banned from that show, that program. He just couldn't handle it anymore. But, God is good. So what happened is other opportunities opened up for me. The LA Times did a story on me. I was doing a lot of interviews, and one thing led to another one. This time I ended up on another radio program in a white community on a Christian station. And I'm thinking, this is real cool. These are white people who love God, and they're not going to be afraid. 6 months went by, the same thing happened again. I was attacked. The station was attacked. The black community threatened to bomb the station, just everything you can think of. And finally, I was banned again. And so 9 years have gone by, and I've been banned from 3 stations. Just recently got banned again because people have fear. People that are on the side of good have fear within them, and I don't understand that, because there is no way that you can love what's right and have fear within you, because perfect love casts out fear. If you have fear, then you don't know God. That's a fact. You got to face that. So I was banned again. I want to give you 2 more incidents of what has happened to me as a result of standing for truth and loving what's right. I was on Ted Copper during the time of the O.J. Simpson trial, when they had the L.A. riot issue. And this time they had invited, all of the same people, the NAACP and Maxine Waters, and you just name them. They were all there. And so the house was filled, town hall meeting. And Ted Copper gets around to me and he says to me, Reverend Peterson, what do you think the problem is in the black community? And I stood up in the audience and I said, Maxine Waters is the problem. This is the problem here. It's not the white man. When I said that, the whole household just went up in a roar. And it changed the whole program around. And from that point forward, Ted Copper did not come back to me for another question. And I'm raising my hand, so I had some more to say. No way that was going to happen that night, because he's intimidated by these people, afraid of telling the truth. Once again, I'm on Channel 9 there, debating one of Louis Farrakhan's ministers there in Los Angeles. And this time it was about the Million Man March. We were talking about the issue, and they wanted to know what did I think about that issue. And I said, America is going to suffer because of what happened that day. Louis Farrakhan rose to a Hitler status because he was validated by the media. He was validated by many people in the Christian community, people who know and who understood that he is a racist. He hates white people. He hates Jews. That's a fact. But he was validated that day. And so a lot of the young black men who now, who knew before that he was a racist, they are now following him. And we're going to pay a price for it. Walking out of the studio, got threatened with some more guns. People drew a gun. And they showed me the gun and said, you're going to die for attacking Louis Farrakhan. But I don't have fear anymore. I'm not ready to die. I'm 50 years old now. I just turned 50 last week. So I'm not ready to die. I would like to live at least 50 more years, or maybe 150 more if possible. But I would rather die standing in my boots fighting for what is right than to live and be a coward. And America has become a coward. A coward. We're a coward. Again, these are just some of the things that I've gone through over the last 9 years as a result of waking up, really seeing what is going on, seeing how our country is being torn down. I want to just give you some examples of what has happened to the black family as a result of the United States government taking over. Some 40 years ago, the government came in, and this happened right at the time of the civil rights movement. They came in and they told the black family that America owes you something because you've been enslaved. And so what we want to do, we want to give you programs. We want to give you welfare. We want to pay you back. We want to take care of you. But you can't have it unless you take the man out of the home. You can't have it with your husband in the home. And so they took the man out of the household. And again, when you take the man out, the government can take over, because when you take the man out, you take out the light of the family. You take out the head of the household, and when you remove him, there's no hope left. So the government took out the man, and 40 years have gone by, and the warfare between the black man and the black woman surpasses my understanding. The black woman hates the black man because he's weak, and he hates her because she's angry. They can't deal with one another, and it's a disgrace to our nation. The man is totally wiped out. Now, there are a lot of men who are on the streets, on drugs, but there are many that are walking around in suits every day, looking like they're real men. They're not. They cannot handle their woman because they've been separated for so long, and there's so much animosity there, so much anger. The government separated the family, separated the man by taking him away from his family. A spiritual warfare between good and evil. And if you notice, the attack is on the man. And that's not by chance. It is because of the order of life. They're always trying to make the man look stupid. Look at the TV programs and look at the movies and things. The man is the one that's always looking like he's dumb, looking like the silly one. They are doing that so that they can disgrace him, you know, so that his wife and his children will lose respect for him and turn away from him. And when you turn away from the Father, you turn away from God. It is impossible to love and know God and hate your father. Whether he's a good man or a bad man, you must forgive him, because as long as you resent him, you're not going to ever find God. You're not going to come back. And see, evil understand that. That's why it's working through these people to tear down the family first. I want to give you some perfect examples of immorality in the black community, in the black family, where there is no family for the most part. When I was growing up in Alabama, when a young girl would get pregnant or have a baby out of wedlock, it would be an embarrassment to the family. She would have to go in hiding for 9 months. You know, you thought that she went on vacation or something, because the family was embarrassed about that. You know, they had shame when someone would do something wrong. Now, if a young lady gets pregnant out of wedlock, it is celebrated. They have a baby shower. They make announcement as though this young lady is married. No shame at all. No God. No shame, no God. No conscience. No self-awareness. Today, if preachers, for example, they have allowed the churches the government to take over the churches by way of programs. You know, here's some money to stamp out gang violence. Here's some money for the unwed. You know, here's some money. And now the government is controlling the churches. There are churches on every corner, mostly in the black community. Have you noticed that? If you doubt me, just paint your face black and drive down the community. Look around. You see churches on every corner. Everybody and their mama is a preacher. And yet we're worse off than ever before in history. And that is because most of the black preachers are using the black people for personal gain. It is not about rebuke. It is not about the truth. They are teaching racism. They are teaching hatred within the church, and no one is doing anything about it. Two examples of that. Frederick Casey Price, who is a Crenshaw Christian Center. You may have heard about him. He's one of the largest churches in Los Angeles. He fell out with one of his white minister's friends, big minister, a white guy who was a minister friend of his. They had a disagreement on an issue, and now Fred Price is teaching racism in the church. And instead of people speaking out against it, and this church can hold up to 10,000 people. Just think of 10,000 black people in one place being taught hatred by someone that they respect. And instead of dealing with it, they're lifting up holy hands and praising God in the church. Another quick example, West Angeles Church of God in Christ, Charles Blake, another large black church in Los Angeles. They wanted to elect a black mayor, a black person to run for mayor. So they invited the black community to come in for, you know, a talk about this, a discussion. The black city councils came in, many other black preachers, Diane Watson, who was a state senator there, they all came in. And each and every one of them that came up to the podium taught racism. Examples. The contract with America is a contract with white America. We need our own contract. We need a black contract. We got to stick together. The Republican Party is trying to put us back in slaves. The white man is against us. Teaching hatred in the church. The government take over. They're afraid to speak the truth. I finally raised my hand because I was in the audience and I wanted to say something about that. And they're like, no, you can't speak. I'm like, no, I have something to say. No, you can't speak. So I insisted on speaking on this issue. So finally they allowed me to get up. And I asked Pastor Blake, or Bishop Blake, how is it that you could be a man of God and you would allow these people to come in and teach this kind of hatred, this type of hatred? Where you have Caesar Murray from First AME Church passing out condoms to the children in the church. Another black church, no one says anything about it. And he said, that's why I didn't want you to speak. There's always a troublemaker in the audience. They don't want truth to come out, controlled by the government. These are some of the examples why we are suffering in the black community. It is not racism. It is the lack of character and the hatred for America. They have been turned against our country. That's why they call themselves Afro-American. Have you heard that lately? Yeah. Afro-American, because if their allegiance is to Africa, then they hate America. And that's how Jesse Jackson and others want it to be. They don't want them to love the country, because if these people should wake up, they would have to go and get a job. Jesse Jackson would be out of work today. So they need these people. They need them to keep down. The Democratic Party would end today if black people were to wake up. Blacks are in a perfect position right now to turn this country around for the good. But they're so angry that they can't see that. They don't see because of their anger. Another quick example of the government taking over. You would have to be blind, crippled, and crazy to send your child to a public school today. Really. You would have to wake up in the morning and think to yourself, you know, I hate my child. How can I punish them? You know, what can I do today to bring on suffering for my child? Oh, I know, I'll send them off to school. Really, you would have to hate your child to send them to a public school. First of all, we all know they have taken God out of it, out of the school. No God at all. But another thing that has happened, especially in the Los Angeles area, there's a program called Project 10 that has been in the school system for 10 years. And they have taught our boys and girls that homosexuality is normal. That is normal. And now the kids who disagree with that lifestyle, they can walk into a bathroom and they catch two boys making out or two girls making out. And the girls are hugging and kissing on campus, and the boys are hugging and kissing. And when the kids that disagree with that lifestyle, when they disagree with that lifestyle, they have been punished for it. They're called homophobes, and they've been, made to feel bad about standing up for what is right. But they don't have anyone there to protect them. The father's wiped out, and the mother can't handle it. The public school system is screwed up today. We need to, I mean, we need to really just abolish the public school system. It is a sin before God, to be honest with you. And if you notice, Jesse Jackson and others are in favor of the public school system. They think that it's okay for blacks to go there. But yet, Jesse Jackson and others send their family, their kids to the best schools. Their kids have a father and a mother in the home. They get the best jobs in town. Now, if the white man is holding blacks back, why is it that they're not holding these blacks back? Blacks can't even see that because they're so angry. Anger prevents you from sinning. We got to overcome the anger. That's why when they come after us, you know, the Maxine Waters and the others, when they come after us, if you notice what they do, they try to intimidate us first. You know, they call us names because they don't have right on their side. The only thing that they have on their side is intimidation. They try to get you angry. And once they get you angry, then they can control you. Have you noticed that? I'm going to give you a quick example of that. Did I give you an example of anger already? The husband and wife thing? About how she controls her man? She can get what she wants from him? I didn't tell you that yet, right? Okay, let me tell you that, and then I'll move on. I just want to show you. I like to bring it home to you because if I can get you to see, I promise you, you'll change. It won't take long, and I'll just show you. For example, let's say that a husband and a wife has been together. No, let's do the dating thing. You know, I used to date a lot, and I had an ego. When I'm dating a girl, and she come in one day and she says to me, you know, Jesse, you are so handsome. You know, you're just a gift from God. You're just all man. I just love you. You know, she's talking to me, and my ego is just getting big, you know, just puffed up because she's lying to me, but it feels good, right? It feels good. So she got my ego built up, right? And then she said, oh, Jesse, I would like for you to buy me this coat I saw in this store. And I'm like, okay, honey, whatever you want. But if I should say no to that, no, I'm not going to buy it for you, then what she would do to me is say, you know, you're no good. You're just a weak man. You've never been in this. I don't know how I got involved with you. She tried to get me angry. And if she get me angry, she can control me too. I would still get whatever she wants because now that I'm angry at her, I have a lot of guilt, and that guilt make me want to make her happy. Have you noticed that? That's how the world motivates us. That's how Maxine Waters and others get the power. That's why they call us names first. You got to be born again so that you don't be motivated by emotions. You got to be motivated by what is right, not what you feel, but what is right. And they understand that, but the people on the other side have no clue as to what is happening to them. Be aware of that. Wake up to that reality. Another thing I want to make quickly about the American government, then we're going to move on to the UN. Let me give you another example of immorality in the black community. I like to prove my points because I'm sure I'm going to hear a lot of people saying, how can you say this about black people? Most blacks go to church. Yeah, they go to church, but the devil can also go to church too. Do you doubt that? Let me give you an example. How many people saw Bill Clinton in the church with the Bible? So tell me that the devil don't go to church. He goes to church, and he quotes scripture. He goes to church with the Bible and read scripture to you. Bill Clinton is a liar, an adulterer, a lawbreaker, and God knows whatever else. And yet, the polls indicated that 80 to 90% of blacks supported him when he was being impeached. Did you read that? Now, how can you love good and evil? You can only serve one. You either love one and hate the other, or you hate one and love the other. You can't serve both. Now, if blacks had character, why would they support someone that's wrong like that? It doesn't work that way, people. And you got to realize that. And Bill Clinton understands that. That's why he knows how to just say what they want to hear. He makes them feel good about being wrong. It's not your fault. It's someone else. And they fall for it. And the reason that they fall for that is because 40 years of brainwashing. It's been going on for a long time, and they can't see the truth. Another quick point I want to make. White Americans are suffering for what's happening in the black community today. And the reason that white Americans are suffering is because you allow yourself to be intimidated. You were told that if you speak up against blacks, you are racist. If you disagree with black people, you hate them. If you disagree with black people, we're going to sue you. You're the problem. Your ancestor is the reason that blacks are in the kind of trouble that they are. You fell for the lie, then you back down. And now the same evil that has destroyed the black community is now spreading into the white community. Because if you don't do something about evil, it will spread. Just as in the family, when the father's weak, the mother's angry, the kids grow up weak and angry because evil is spreading. And now it is happening to you today. The government is attacking the man first. The white man is the problem. The white straight man, you know, not the gay man, you know, he's just like the woman, so it doesn't matter to them. The white straight man, he want to hold blacks back. He want to put, you know, he's against the woman. He is the evil of the family. They are trying to destroy the white man because they know that if they can get the white man out of the picture, break that order that God has ordained, that it's going to be easy to destroy the family. They can do exactly to you what has happened to the black family. It's a spiritual warfare between good and evil. It's not what we have been told. And you must have courage. You must stand for what is right in order to turn this around. You cannot allow yourselves to be intimidated because everybody's going to suffer if we allow this to happen. If we allow it to happen. I encourage you to go to the courts and visit some of the juvenile courts today. You will be shocked at the little kids that are being taken away from their parents. The social workers, they just can come into your homes and take your children away, and there is nothing you can do about it. The abortion rate is out of control in the black community. No character. It is not racism. It's the lack of character. Now, this is the American government that we're talking about. We can vote this government out. If we don't like someone, we can go to the polls and just vote them out. Sometimes. We tried to get rid of Bill Clinton. We didn't succeed at that. But for the most part, we are able to vote them out. Now, if the United Nations should come in, there is no way at all that we can vote them out. Whatever the laws are, we have to accept it. We have no say-so at all. There are so many issues that I want you to be aware of, but you got to be aware. Let that sink in your mind that you have no voting power at all. We're suffering right now with the right to vote. Oh, let me just pinpoint something. I want to beg you, I want to plead to you, do not give up your rights to bear arms. Don't let your guns go. It is the worst thing that can happen to us as a nation. It is a God-given right to bear arms, and we must hold on to that. Now, the Republican Party is very weak. You know, it just blows my mind. They don't care what we think about it. You know, I don't know, they're just so intimidated. But we must not give up our rights to bear arms. And let me tell you why. I've been working with gang members and the criminals for the last 9 years, and they are heavily loaded with arms. They have every kind of gun that you can think of. But what is happening is that the government, you know, they are unable to take the weapons away from the criminals, so they're coming after us. And it's easy to take our guns away because we're good, good citizens. They don't know what to do with the criminals, so they're dealing with us. If you give up your guns, it's over. They're going to rob you walking down the streets. They're going to take your automobiles. They're going to break into your homes. They can't even believe that we're giving up our rights to bear arms. They don't understand that themselves. The criminals don't understand that. You got to fight for the rights to bear arms. And you have to be aware of how they are trying to brainwash and manipulate us. Let me give you a quick example. 2020 did a story the other night, and it was with families that believed in the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. They brought in a wife and a husband, a wife and a husband, and a wife and a husband, and they brought in their little kids, little boys and girls. They put the kids in a room with a lot of toys, a lot of toys, and amongst the toys, they put some guns there as well. And so the parents was able to look into the window to see what was going on. So they said to the mothers, do you think that your son is going to play with the gun if he should find it? No, I don't think so. You know, my son have been taught, you know, about guns, and they're not going to bother the guns. And so they let the kids into the room, and right away the kids go right to the guns. You know, all the toys, the room is just filled with boxes of toys and toys everywhere. And the kids go right to the guns. They pull the guns out of the boxes, and they start shooting each other, you know, playing cowboys and, you know, falling out dead. And the mothers went like this. Oh, my God. I can't believe that. I am afraid now. I will never let my child out of my eyesight again. They can't go next door to play with the neighbors. The parents overreacted to that. And in that moment, they could get them to do anything they want. The parents who believed in the Second Amendment, because they have overreacted to a situation, are now against it. And that's how they motivate us to do what we don't want to do. Have you noticed that? I'm telling you, be aware of what is going on. It's a spiritual warfare. And the government is trying to win. We can't afford that. We cannot afford that. Be conscious of what is happening. I'm just giving you a few things. I wish there are so many stories that I can tell you that I've gone through over the last 9 years. The worst thing that you could be in the black community is a Republican. It is easier to be black and a member of the KKK than it is to be a Republican. It is easier because they have been taught for so long that the white man, the white Republican Party is against them. But it's just hatred being taught. The United Nations. The United Nations had a convention on the rights of the child. Now, I want you to remember that we cannot vote these people out. Never, ever, ever forget that. And secondly, I want you to remember that the United Nations is headed by people who is anti-God, anti-family, and anti-country. And they want to promote homosexuality, abortion, and everything that we are against. Right now, the homosexuals are trying to get married, and if the UN come in and take away our rights to vote and have a say-so, they're going to get married. And if churches disagree with it, they're going to be sued. They're going to be forced to marry these people. So this is a big deal. But they had a convention on the rights of the child. And I just want to give you a few of the articles of the rights of the child according to the UN. In Article 15, it said that the state party recognized the rights of the child to freedom of association. And what that means is that if your son or your daughter decides that they want to be a member of the Crips or the Blood, have you ever heard of them? Okay. Are they here yet? Are they in this town yet? If not, they're on the way. Yeah, I bypassed them on the way here. They're coming. So if your son or daughter decide that they want to be a member of that organization or the radical homosexual movement, they come home and say, Dad, Mom, I'm going to join this organization. There's nothing you can say about it. Nothing you can say, because the UN say that they have the right to do it, and you have no rights as a parent. Another issue, and this is already happening with the American government, especially in the black family. If a child decides that they don't want to do homework, or if they don't want to do something that the parents say do, they call their social worker up and say, my parent is mean to me. My mother yelled at me. The social worker can come and take them out. There's nothing the parents can say about it. Another one is Article 13 said, the child shall have the right to freedom of expression. The child shall have the right to freedom of expression. Let's say that your son or your daughter decides that they want to read sex magazine. You know, Larry Flint. That's his name? Larry Flint. Larry Flint. You know, they get one of those magazines, or they want to look at those videotapes. They bring them home and say, you know, your little 12-year-old daughter or son, oh, look, Mom, what I have. I'm going to read about sex today. No, you can't do that. But I can, Mom. No, you can't. The UN say I can, and I'm going to call my social worker if you disagree with me. You have no right. And just think about this. The warfare between good and evil. They are tearing down the family. Destroy the father, the rest is evil. It's easy and evil. The rest is evil. The rest is evil. It keeps coming out of my mouth. We need to be aware of that. Another thing about the United Nations is Article 16 says no child shall be subject to arbitrary or unlawful interference with his or her privacy. Your child has the rights to privacy, meaning that, let's say that your son bring home some cocaine. Everybody's familiar with cocaine or alcohol. They take it up into their room, and they want to smoke it or drink, and you walk upstairs to see what's going on, and they hide it under their bed. You knock on the door and go in. What are you doing, son? Oh, nothing. You do not have the right to look under the bed or in the closet to see what they're hiding, because the United Nations say your child has the right to privacy. That is wickedness. I mean, are you like blown away by this as I am? This is in America. Do you know that most people don't believe that this can happen? When I first heard that our government would be taking children away from the parents, I said, oh no, that's not true. That can never happen in America. It is happening today. Every day. I deal with kids every day, and it is happening every day. I want to give you one last one. And this one is as important as anything else. In Article 9, a child shall not be separated from his or her parents against their will, except when a competent authority subject to the courts determines. So if a judge or a social worker decides that your child can be taken away from you, it can happen. I'd like to give you an example of that with our American government. I work with a lot of young boys who, you know, when they turn the age of 13 to 14, the mother can't handle the child for the most part, especially the boys. So they call us up, and we have an emancipation program where we take the boys in and we, put them to work and show them how to go to school, and we have a good environment for them. Well, we also do the same thing with a lot of boys who are in the juvenile system, juvenile hall. When they get out, we bring them into the program, but we first have to go to court in order to get the court to okay this. So what we do, we invite the parents to go to court with us, so the parents can tell the judge, I want my son to be a part of this program. But 9 times out of 10, when the parent go to court to tell the judge said, well, I don't want to hear from you. I want to hear from your social worker. What's the opinion of the social worker? The parents cannot say anything. It's the social worker make the decision. The parents have no rights at all. This is in America. We're talking about America, not Russia, in America. And so in the social worker, God forbid if your child should come under the authority of the social worker. Most of them are angry, perverted, impatient. They yell at the kids. They curse at the kids. It is the environment that the social workers put the kid in is worse than they could have at home. I'm telling you, I wish you would go out and meet some of these social workers. It is just absolutely amazing. The foster homes are screwed up. These children are being molested. They're taken out of their homes when they're little kids. Most of them don't even remember their parents for no reason at all, simply because the social worker decided that something else was better. The United Nations want to do the same thing. They want to take away our children. Tear down the family, and you can do it. They want to brainwash our children. The destruction of the family. UNICEF, United Nations Children Fund, said that every child is our child. Not yours, but theirs. And so I wonder, is this what Hillary Clinton meant when she said to take a village? This is the village. Isn't this amazing? This is happening in America. The churches are screwed up because they sound like the government. The family is screwed up because the man has been destroyed. There's no principles anymore. We're losing it, people. We need to wake up to this reality. We still have time to change it. I'm going to give you, in a few minutes, ways that we can turn this around. We're in a nosedive, but we can turn it around, all right? But let me first say to you that when I read the history of the forefathers, not the history that has been taught or is being taught in the public schools today, but when I read history for myself, what I discovered about the forefathers is that they loved what was right first. They believed in their heart, and they lived by that, and they believed in the scriptures. and they established a country based on truth, based on what was right first. And that's why they was able to establish a great nation, a nation that sits on a hill and the rest of the world can look at it and want to be like us. They believed in what was right. And we need to come back to that because we're getting away from it, and now our country is falling apart. The government is taking over, and we're losing ground fast. The shooting that we saw, that we're seeing in these public schools right now, it is going to get worse before it gets better. We are more divided right now than ever before in history. Divide and conquer. Thanks to the Democratic Party, thanks to Bill Clinton. His town hall meeting didn't help at all. White people are angry because they're taken away from the hard-working people and given to the unjust, the lazy bums. And now you're mad, and they want you to be mad, because as long as you're mad and separated, they can conquer. We got to be conscious of what is going on so that we can turn it around. Be aware of that. We have a great nation. We have a chance to turn it around. I want to tell you about, let me tell you this. Let me tell you 1, 2, 3. 3 things to turn this around right away. The first thing is that you must seek first the kingdom of God and his right way, and everything will be added unto you. I promise you that. I promise you that. I'm not God, but I can be a witness that that will happen. Within all of us, within us, there is a different personality. There is a power. There is a different source. You know, God called it the kingdom of heaven within. And we got to learn to live from within, not without. That goes in destroys a man, but that comes out gives us life. The forefathers understood this. We need to come back to that. And when we come back to that, we have a greater source within us. And we can win this battle. So we need to come back to God. Second thing, we need to educate our children. We need to educate the young people about what is happening in their country. Whenever I debate the people on the other side, the liberals, the anti-God people, the anti-country, the anti-family, every time I debate these people, the rooms are filled with young people. If you're not educating your children, they are. Really. And they're using their children. They're using our kids to manipulate, to control, and to tear down the country. So we have to educate our children. We must do that. The third thing, there is a bill, H.R. 1146, the American Sovereignty Restoration Act by Ron Paul, Representative Ron Paul. Call your representatives and ask them to sponsor this bill. Not ask, insist. Tell them you're going to vote them out if they don't sponsor this bill. We need to get out of the UN, and we need to get out now. We need to get out now. We can't afford to stay there any longer. Honestly, we need to get out of the UN right now. And the fourth thing, I said 3, but I have one more. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Be honest. You know, we have a responsibility to love our enemies as ourselves, to love our neighbors. And love means telling the truth. Now, people are not going to always love the truth, but if you just tell them the truth and walk away, don't argue with them about it, don't try to prove it, you know, don't get into a heavy debate. Just tell the truth. And the truth is sharper than a two-edged sword. And when you walk away, when you have gone away from them, they're thinking about what you've said. Because the truth will work on your behalf. The forefathers understood that. That's what built a great nation. That's what it's going to take to turn it around. If they call you racist, if they say you hate me or hate someone because they're black or because they're homosexual or because they're killing babies. Oh, can I tell you a quick story about an abortion issue? Quick one. Quick one. We've been involved in the abortion movement, and I've tried to get the black churches to get involved. They will not because, well, there are women in the church that believe that it's a woman's right to kill a baby. Or, you know, I don't want to offend anyone. I hear it all the time. They won't get involved. Same thing with the homosexual issue. But I was on the abortion line one day, and there was a young girl by the age of 13 to 14 who was coming in on a Saturday to have an abortion. And this girl was like 6 or 7 months pregnant. You know, you can really see that she's pregnant. So she's on her way into the clinic. I stopped her and talked to her for a minute. And I said, you know, you don't have to have an abortion. We would adopt the baby for you. And when she said, well, it's too late now. I'm like, why? Well, I went into the clinic on Thursday, and they injected a saline solution into my womb. And they told me it wasn't going to be a big deal. It's just a fetus. It's not really a baby. You're not going to feel anything. And so they injected the saline into her womb. And for 3 days, she felt her baby kicking for life, fighting for his life. Inside her womb, the baby just fighting for his life for 3 days. And on the 3rd day, the baby died. And she said that when the baby died, it just blew her mind. It put her into a depression that she would never be able to overcome. Now, that's just one example of what is happening as a result of government takeover, no father in the home, no character. Abortion is running rampant in the black community. The abortion clinics are everywhere. No one says anything about it. No father, no God. No God, no character. We got to realize that, and we got to come back to it. So when you stand up for truth, don't worry about what they call you. That's all they have to work on their side, is to intimidate you. But we have the truth on our side. You know, and in closing, I just want to say to you, you know, stand. Stand, stand, stand. And when you have done all you can do to stand, stand some more. This is a great country. We cannot afford to lose it. We need to get out of the UN. We need to restore the family. We need to come back to God. And when we do that, I promise you, we can turn this country around. It is not a race issue. Jesse Jackson and others are lying. The Democratic Party is lying to you. Do not fall for it. All right? God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Peterson. We'll have some questions when we close the program off the podium if you'd like to ask the Reverend any questions. In closing, I do want to urge you, if you're not involved with the John Birch Society, to join tonight. If you're watching this on a cable program or on C-SPAN, give us a call. Let us know, get some information, and contact your local society chapter leader. Or, oh, that's fine. Oh, that's fine. What kind of word you want, Reverend?
Let me tell you this real quick, because I'm sure you're wondering, how did this black guy get involved with the John Birch Society? Well, I'm good friends with Izola Foster, a tough woman out there, black lady who loved, you heard of her? If you haven't heard of her, you will. She's a school teacher. She's gone through hell. But one day she called me up and said, Jesse, come and go with me to a meeting. I'm like, okay, that's good, because I trust her, and, you know, I know she loves what's right? So she's like, I'm like, what meeting do you want me to go to? It's a John Birch Society. I'm like, what? Are you crazy? I thought she had lost her mind, because I had heard somewhere that the John Birch Society was a racist organization. You know, and just like most people, I heard it, but I never looked into it to find out if it was true or not. Someone said it, and I believed it, like most people do today. So to make a long story short, I went to the meeting, and my heart was gladdened when I saw the people that love God and love country. You know, I saw white skin, but I saw the hearts of the people. You know, I saw them, and I was blessed for it. And so I became a member after a while, and then I became head of the Impeach Clinton, you know, in the Los Angeles area there. And I went to the headquarters in Appleton, went to the library. You owe it to yourself to go to the library. If you haven't gone, make sure you go. Because the John Birch Society has been around for 40 years. And they have gone through hell, and they have endured because they love the truth first. They love truth first. And in their library, they can back up everything they say. They don't just throw things out and can't prove it. Everything that they say, they can back it up. So I encourage you to get involved. I encourage you to send out information to your black friends. I'm sure some of you have black friends, right? You don't have to put your name on it. Just send it to them.
Put your name on it.
Yeah, put my name on it. I can hand it to him. But Because I've been a member now for about 3 years, and when my black friends and family heard that I was a member of the John Birch Society, they thought I had lost my mind. It was bad enough when they discovered that I was a Republican, right? But a Republican and a Birch member. But I gave them information on the organization. They're reading about it, and their minds are changing because they're looking into it. So get involved and tell people about it. Thank you. I'm sorry about that.
You did a bad job on eyes. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for coming, and may God bless you. Good night.